basic ambition was to be a police officer, and somehow I look more like a police officer than most of the police officers look. Farmhouse of Mr. RajKapoor, and his one wish should be turned into a educational institute where new minds can be trained. And Dr. Karad fulfilled his wish. RajKapoor from heaven must be very happy. He looks down and looks at his Bagh and what it has happened.
Namaskar. I'm Dr. Deepa Bhajekar from Vishwashanti Darshan. I have with me this afternoon a very, very interesting personality, the talented Mr. Bharat Dabholkar, known for advertising. He's an advertising legend, a theatre personality, a film actor, a director, and a very, very versatile, well-read, knowledgeable person. So, Mr. Bharat Dabholkar, how is it to be at Bagh today? What is your experience?
First, I must tell you that you should be in advertising, that you can take a mediocre subject and make it sound so good. That's what we do in advertising.
You're not a mediocre subject.
No, I'll tell you, this is my second visit to Bagh. I had come here once for a function where there was a major function happening, and I had never been here before, so I didn't know what this was. And when I was sitting in the main bungalow, which is the main bungalow of this whole property, they were playing songs from RajKapoor films all the time. And I didn't understand why they were doing that. So I said, why are we playing only RajKapoor songs? And that time they mentioned that this was actually the farmhouse of Mr. RajKapoor. And he used to come here to relax and do his thinking. And his one wish was that after he passes away, this should not be just left as a family farmhouse for people to come and have parties, but it should be turned into an educational institute where new minds can be trained. And Dr. Karad fulfilled his wish by not only taking this over and making this into a thing, but he's made this into a complete, there are a plethora of different institutes here, covering every aspect of management
various
and departments and everything. So I think RajKapoor from heaven must be very happy. He looks down and looks at his Bagh and what it has happened. Because this was his wish, and it was fulfilled in more ways than one. I'd come here last time and I found very enthusiastic students and people participating in everything. Now this is my second visit here. This time I'd come for a different purpose, to do a play reading to a different lot of students. But I find just coming here a very relaxing thing, because the kinds of things that are around here, the dome that is there, where there is.
Have you been to the Peace Dome?
I've been to the Peace Dome, and
what do you think about it?
It was amazing that somebody could think of this, that there are 54 statues of saints and philosophers and scientists, the three disciplines, or three, what I would say, channels that help
spirituality,
in
philosophy
and science, which help in growth in all aspects of human life. And I thought that whole concept of doing it that way was
especially
amazing.
Relevant for today's students, isn't it?
Very relevant for today's students. Just watching it every day, or passing through that every day, itself would be a great learning process for them, how to think.
So we're going to turn a little bit to your career, and which spans over a phenomenal plethora of talents and creativity.
Well, my career is a very...
Let me ask you, what made you stray away and get into this very, very creative thing of advertising and film, when everybody was becoming doctors and engineers, which was guaranteed, where guaranteed jobs and income was done? How can you step into creativity where there was no... what made you do this, or what drove you to this?
I'm a lawyer by education and a business management graduate, and I had no interest in getting into advertising. My lifelong ambition from the age of 4 till I graduated from law and became a lawyer was to be an IPS officer. Becoming a police officer was my unwavering ambition. And even today, when I meet, and I know all these commissioners and director generals of police, when I meet them in uniform, I still feel bad that I didn't join the police force. That was my basic ambition, was to be a police officer. And somehow I look more like a police officer than most of the police officers look. So I get mistaken for a police officer when I'm with them for debates and things like that, than those guys do. And everybody that I've met, and I've met all of them, they always tell me that, oh, you wanted to be a police officer? We didn't want to be in the police. Like Mr. A.A. Khan said that I am English honours, MA in English honours. I didn't want to be a policeman. And I met so many of these guys who didn't want to be that. So when I didn't become a police officer, I didn't do the IPS exam, and I was doing my law in the morning, and I was working as a management trainee in one of the Tata companies Forbes and Campbell. And they had lots of agencies. They had many different divisions, many different companies. And I used to keep on seeing the advertising guys who used to come there for making presentations. And I would sit through them as a management trainee. And we were some 8 or 10 management trainees. And every time I would come out of a presentation, I would say, "This is a lousy campaign. I can think better than this. What are they presenting?" So at one point, all those guys said that, "Look, instead of sitting and criticizing what work they're doing, then you get into advertising."
Is that how you got
into
it?
So I said, "That's a damn good idea." So I started applying for agencies, different agencies. And I must have applied to 7, 8, 10 agencies. Nobody wanted me because they said, "You're a lawyer.
No background.
You have no background." And the money that they were offering as a stipend at the beginning was 1/10 of what I was earning as a thing.
Okay.
And that time money mattered. I mean, you couldn't suddenly take a drop, so much of a drop. So I kept on saying, "No, I don't want to do it." At one point, I realized that if I don't do it, I'll keep earning more and more money here in this company. And advertising will still pay me the same amount as a beginner's salary. So I said, let me take a chance. So I left a lucrative job in a big company, successful company, and joined a privately owned advertising agency, a small agency which had an office at Kulaba on the top floor of the Tata, the Bata shoe shop. And everybody was surprised that you left such a fantastic job and you've joined this. As luck would have it, that turned out to be the best thing that I can think of doing in life, because I had wonderful clients to work on.
That was advertising. Do you, would your message to the students be that you should work on something which is an inherent core skill? You know why? Because you haven't been trained to do advertising, and yet you delivered such a fantastic, such fantastic campaigns. So would you tell the students that you stick to your core strengths or identify what you think?
I think what the problem is, sometimes we don't know what our core strength is till you get into it. It's like jumping into the water, then you realize how to swim.
True.
So I always say, do something that you're passionate about. That you feel great about doing this. It doesn't matter what job it is.
And you've enjoyed every single day of your life.
You enjoy every single day of your life, and you can never have a thing that Monday morning I don't feel like going to office. That should never happen. It should be a celebration. And I said, if you can have fun in whatever you're doing, then you're always successful. True. So my thing to them is that if you can laugh and make people laugh, no matter which field you're in, except maybe like you are a scientist, so you don't need to make people laugh, you need to get your research done right. True. But other things which are communication-oriented projects, if you can enjoy what you're doing and people around you can enjoy working with you, it always works. So that's how advertising sort of became.
You did some of the biggest campaigns, Amul, Tata Tea. Can you tell us some of the brands that you launched which sort of went to become #1 brands?
All of them.
And all of them.
Every brand that I've launched.
Can you tell us some of the names and products that you launched?
You name it. From the moment you wake up, whether it's Amul butter, Britannia bread, Tata tea, Tata coffee, Dippy's jam, Dippy's jellies, Amul milk, and as you go along.
Of course, the Amul butter hoardings, you did them for several years, right?
15 years, I did.
15 years.
But as I always say that...
And I think people woke up for that hoarding because they knew the news would sort of shift that way.
But the credit for that, as I always say, does not go to people like me. See, you can find lots of creative people. There are lots of creative people in this world. Client who gives you
freedom,
that confidence and the freedom to do what you want to do. And Dr. Kurian, that I worked with for 15 years, was that client. He's the only client in the world who said, I understand milk and milk products. I do not understand advertising. So don't show me what you do. There's no client in the world who says, I'll pay for it, but don't show me what you're doing. Amul butter, whatever it was, is and will be, I think the success is owed to this one man. He has a lion's share in whatever Amul
also
was.
Made you have that ownership of the brand, because I've always heard you say, all the brands I launched, Fruity and several, all of the brands I still feel are my own. What brought this ownership
I'll
when
tell
you
you
did?
what, if you want to be successful, you don't just do it for money. You don't say that this is my client and I'm getting money from this client. You should feel that this is my brand. So even years later, when you are not handling that product, if I'm not handling Amul butter now or Fruity now, I still look at a Fruity thing and say, hey, that's my product. I tell all the youngsters that get that ownership. And that ownership should not just be for brand, it should be for whatever you do.
Whatever.
If you do theatre, you do any project that you do, whether you are a part of that project or not, you should feel that I own this thing. Its success depends on me. It depends on how good I am. It's not because there are some other people working on this. If you can have that kind of passion, I think
You will
everything
always.
works.
I think success is a given then, right?
Exactly. It comes
So
automatically.
you studied in Marathi as a language for all the years, and
Yeah.
and you wrote 32 of the longest running plays in English.
Yeah.
So it's quite a journey, isn't it? I mean, learning to talk English verbally is one thing, but writing 32 of the longest running plays in English is quite a shift. How did you manage to bridge this gap?
I can talk badly in 4 languages, equally badly.
That's the
I
Bharat
can-
humor,
I can,
okay? Guys, don't
I
listen.
can talk badly in English, Marathi, Gujarati, Kutchi. I can talk badly in all
And
these
you
languages.
launched a South Indian ad as well, right?
I done everything. So the point is, I did my entire schooling in Marathi. I couldn't speak a single sentence in English. Not one sentence. In my 10th standard, my English was, this is a boy, his name is Ram, this is a girl, her name is Sita, or whatever. And then I got into Elphinstone College first year arts, which was one of the most sophisticated South Bombay colleges of Mumbai. And I had first year arts, and I had 145 prettiest girls in town in my class, and 5 boys.
Was that the incentive?
So I had, and the thing is, all the other boys could speak English. I couldn't speak English. So even if a girl came to me and said, you want to bunk the next lecture and go for a film, I would answer that in my mind first. In Marathi, I would say, आईला घरी जेवायला येतो म्हणून सांगितलं तर मी येऊ नाही शकत. Then I would translate that. I've told my mother I'm coming home for lunch. Then I would say it 2-3 times to make sure कि मेरा pronunciations ठीक है. तो जब तक मेरा जवाब उनको मिलता, तब तक वो लड़की जाके आती, फिल्म देख के आती थी. So I realized that I had 145 reasons to learn English very fast. So what I started doing was, see, all of us who study in vernacular schools, whether it's Marathi, Gujarati, Hindi, whatever, we understand English, we know English. It's the spoken English that we are shy about. That we feel that
Make
if
a
we are speaking,
mistake.
we'll make a mistake. We'll not know the right word to use in that sentence. So
Right.
we feel shy and we don't speak. I realized that there's nothing like perfect English. Everybody speaks with their words from their mother tongue mixed into it. Maharashtrians speak with Marathi words in it. Punjabi speak with Punjabi. South Indians speak with South Indian words. So I started, if I couldn't find the right English word, I would use a Marathi, Hindi, Gujarati, whatever word I could find that
Is
would
that
fit
how the
into
new
that.
language was
That's
born?
how that English was born. And then
Correct,
people
correct.
said Bharat is a father
And that
of
became
English.
a rage, right, with your
That
theatre?
helped me a lot later on in advertising and in theatre, because I think that is the language of this country.
And now you're writing this very, very serious play on Nathuram Must Die. I think it's on Nathuram Godse.
Yeah,
What made you come to this controversial subject?
I thought a serious play like this would start the debate. It is not saying that Nathuram was right or wrong, or Gandhiji was right.
It's
or
about
wrong.
opening different
It's about
perspectives.
opening. See, finally, knowledge comes from a debate. That you say, this is a point of view, somebody says, no, I don't agree with that point of view.
Correct.
Why don't you agree with that point of view? Then somebody says, I don't agree because of this. Then you say, no, but this is... That debate is what gives you knowledge. So I think every aspect for a youngster, they should get into discussing things.